All right. I think I've taken long enough of a break, so here I go. This is Typhus in the 40k world, Typhon in the 30k world. I'm going to start painting him, probably just do a base coat today. But I'm going to use its Vallejo bronze green. I brought this color because it's a color for late World War II British tanks and also the soldiers' helmets. Um, it's kind of a nice, gross green looking. Uh, I figured it'd probably be good for this as well, at least for the base coat. So, excuse me, I'm sorry about that. Let's go ahead and start basically. It's just going to be blobbed on. Oh, yeah, look at that. It's not quite dry brushing, it's trying to get in all the creases that I can. I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Just get as much as you can. That's all. Coating. Kind of took a little bit of a break the last couple of weeks. I decided I was just going to do a couple other little projects that I have, really start things. I apologize that it took me so long to get another video up, but I really did want to just tell you what, I'll show you. I don't know if I was talking a little bit about some other things. I really am into modeling. I've been doing a lot of eBay lately, just getting rid of some old games and stuff that are sitting around. I am a collector of sorts, unfortunately. It's all kind of building up to a point where, yeah, I can't really stand it. So, I am now eBaying. Nice thing is, I had a couple surprises happen. I had the first edition Mansions of Madness. I bought that my first year at Origins. Um, yeah, I really, really like the Cthulhu theme stuff and Arkham Horror and those sorts of games. This Mansions of Madness is a really good game too, but they came out with a second edition, and the second edition, one of the selling points for it was it does solo play. It's along those series now that has an app that kind of controls the bad guy. Unlike the old Fantasy Flight games where you had to have an overlord. Well, I'm referencing Descent. Um, in addition to a number of other players, you can play most of those games two player. But I think I like solo, and I didn't have to make up my own rules for the second edition. But the surprise came when I put the first edition up. Um, yeah, it went up to about 170 some odd dollars, making me wonder, you know, it's like, wow, that game must have been super popular if people really, really wanted to. I didn't really do the eBay, search, like I will sometimes, to check what things are sold and how much I should begin my pricing at and stuff like that. I just put a price that I'd be happy with, which was, I think I put on like $39.99. I mean, it was a first edition Mansions of Madness with, I think, Forbidden Alchemy expansion and 6 of the little mini expansions that you could buy over time. I really, really liked the thought of that game. It was really cool overall. I have never, ever sat down and played it other than at Origins the one time. So it's about time to go. I'm also focusing more on solo play games right now because it seems kind of weird, that you'd have a solo game. Um, or, yeah, the games are pretty much, you know, made for social time and talking to other people. But solo games are, mind challenging and thematic, and they could be really good. And that's really what I do anymore. I do have, a group that I play with, and I'll play with other groups occasionally, but not that my time's really limited. I just don't feel like finding a new group of gamers. I am happy with what I have. Things are okay. There are some things like obviously 40k in Horse Heresy that would be much, much better if I could get grouped together somewhere. I could always go down to my local store, Bell's, down in Grove City. They would be a good place to go to play 40k. But again, I kind of would rather just play, get to know somebody, and just sit down and casual play instead of here's a bunch of strangers. I know that's how you make friends. Normally, that's not my favorite way. It takes me a while to warm up to people and get to know what's going on and things. But okay, so I lied. I am going to do a start on the second code, which is really it's Master Series Gold Skin. That's from Reaper Games. What I'm going to do is take my glasses off so I can actually see. Let me make sure I can. Don't pull this guy out too far. So let me adjust the camera a little bit. There we go. Take a little bit of that. Add it to a little bit of that bronze green, and let me pull that down a little bit. And go just start wherever the armor is. Do the first. Kind of just really rough coat. Try not to totally obscure the bronze undercoat or base coat that I did. So it doesn't have to be super, super neat. There's all these fiddly details that I will pick out as time goes, as I build up layers. But for the most part, it's just making sure everything that I want build up. There's trim pieces on here too. Actually, his trim is going to be an old bronze looking thing, I think, when I'm done with it. I keep looking that maybe that's not such a great idea. It says non-toxic, so it's not going to kill me or anything, but it does kind of get disgusting. So I just keep layering wherever the spots are that it looks like it should be layered. It is a little bit better to do this when the first base coat is still a little bit damp. I mean, it doesn't have to be totally damp or anything, but if it's still a little damp, it blends a lot nicer than when it's totally dry. You don't really have to do as much work to do anything. The other thing is, if you try to keep the brush strokes down, you watch me, I'm all over the place because I'm trying to get in between everything. But for the main parts, if you can do down, as in the direction that light is hitting, unless you're on top of lava or something like that, it kind of it's just a more natural flow. So just keep building and building and building. Probably gonna end up seeing where I missed a bunch of stuff, but for the most part, I don't think so. I think it'll be all right. Just the next layer, next higher value. I want to go with I'll start picking out more of the details into the more higher spots where this light is going to be hitting it a little bit more. Instead of going all the way in, this part here is going to have all sorts of light hitting it. And that I did not do earlier. I'm going to go with a standard Typhus look that, if you look them up online, you can see a lot of, what they've painted him like. Games Workshop painters are really fantastic for the most part. And I know they did a lot darker of a green on him. More bilious looking, and it's pretty cool. So I'm going to stick pretty close to that. A little bit of my own stuff to it. I have only done one Plague Marine so far, and I think he turned out pretty cool. It was just the copper green with these Reaper undead colors, which I'm using here. This was sold as part of their Reaper's tri-color system, which it's really nice having that. I think it's a really good start when you're buying paints. At least you get all of them within the same color range. He's got this big pack on his back. Probably like the fuel for his the power pack for his armor, which I think I'm going to do in a copper, darker brown, a little bit higher value, tone, whatever we want to call it. Said, here I am, high tech painter. I know the terms. No, I don't. I really don't know all the terms at all. Is it a little watery there? It'll be okay because it'll help blend. Just keep going. Seems pretty redundant, and it is. But you can start seeing what's happening as you layer like this. This is actually part of one of my favorite ways of painting. Kind of find it relaxing. Kind of weird, isn't it? But as things build up, it's just a repeat. You don't really think a whole lot. You're just kind of watching, seeing how things are going, making sure you're happy with it. If you're not happy, you can always go back over a little bit. You just don't use too thick of a paint because then it just kind of globs. I've got some old Bark 7 Marines downstairs from years and years ago from, I think, Warhammer 3rd edition. When I started buying those, they're just kind of sitting there, and over the years of trying to repaint them and deciding what color scheme, the paint on them has become intolerably thick. The layers, so I guess I'm going to try super clean. I know that worked for metal miniatures. I've used it before. I've never tried it with plastic, but that's no great loss. If it doesn't, I just don't want destroyed miniatures. That is kind of a shame to have, but if it happens, it happens. All right, I am just about there. Hoping you can see. That's the other thing I got to think about. Really need to think about a better camera, huh? One that, while you're watching this, you can actually see what's going on. Right now, I'm just doing really Trying to do really fine, not fine, but small edge highlights. And then I got to decide if I'm going to keep going. How light I want everything to be in the end here. If I just wanted to end in this kind of olive greenish looking color for his primary armor color. I think it looks pretty nice. I don't know. In my mind, for some reason, I'm going almost up to bone. That's kind of what I'm seeing. Almost. Kind of more closer to their the Deathguard's Horus Heresy colors and their 40k part, colors, which is, more greenish, goopyish, gross. That's also one of the reasons I like the Deathguard. I think they're kind of cool looking. Just how dark and grotesque they are. And there's so many just things going on with them. Alright, I think I'm at the highest I want to do with this. I'll go back and I think probably do a little bit brighter or lighter value. There is in this tricolor, there's another one that's even lighter than this green that I'm using right now. I think this one's Undead Flesh. I can't remember what the other one's called. But I'll take a look here. Probably end up being done for now. Yeah, calling it. It's kind of weird. Let me show you what I'm working on right now. I kept two of the models. I bought these models rather inexpensive, thinking, hey, I'll put them together. But all they've done is taken up space. I actually made out pretty good on the sales too. Bought each thing I think for $1, and I ended up selling. The cheapest one I sold was a Pack 40 German anti-tank gun. Sold it for like $3. Now it's $4 something. Anyway, that was the cheapest. I averaged probably about $12 a model selling them. So that made out really well. Nothing to keep myself from having to work for years, but anyway, I was okay. It was a good trade-off. I didn't think I'd get that much because none of them had their instructions or decals, but there is one site online that has PDF versions of instructions for both models, and ended up keeping a British Firefly, World War II modified Sherman with a 17-pounder in the turret. Kept that because, here, let me show you what I'm doing. I am doing these. If you can see, it's just a light war British soldier with a Bren machine gun. I finished one of his the other day, just playing around. A little ADD. Decided I'd start working on these too, but eventually I hope to make a little diorama with the Firefly and these guys walking by. I'm still looking for some crew members for the tank, but let me put these two away and see if I can find that other one. Excuse me while I nearly fart out of. Maybe I'm not going to today. I think it's downstairs. There is one other part of that, which is this olive shadow. Let me show you what that looks like. It's just olive shadow. It's basically a wash. You can see Master Paints. I bought these in Origins a number of years ago too. I'm going to make it more watery. And just do some dots here and there. Make it look gross. Things are running down. This is Nurgle. He's not going to be too clean with diseases and pestilences. And I finished up Dark Imperium as well. I'm so late on reading things and getting back into this whole genre. Well, not genre, but the whole Games Workshop-esque things. Started reading a lot of the novels. I just finished, as I said, Dark Imperium trilogy. Rabuk Gilliam, the Primarch, is back. It was really good. Basically, he's in the Ultramar system trying to kick his brother Mortarion out. Save his worlds. Loses a whole lot of worlds, but it was a good series. Got me into wanting to buy Rabuk Gilliam and Marnius Calgar again. The new versions. I had the old metal ones way back of Marnius. Obviously, Rabuk wasn't in anything back then. There'll be a couple more washes, but I really need to go down and see where that next higher value is out of this Tri-Killer, because I think it would look even better more and more high. Picking out more of the highlights with that. I think the base color for his helmet he has white in his pictures. I'm just going to use, actually, here, tell you what, that's still a little wet. My head's not showing up, which is good. Watch me lick my brush. All right, this here, this is going to be the medium color. So just go ahead and pick out stuff. Go around like that. Then I'll build that up as I go too. That at least gets a little bit of an idea of where I'm going. I do like these miniatures. They're super cool. So these guys have so much detail on them. You don't have to worry about spending a whole ton of time on one particular area, because by the time you're done, it's layered up like so many things. Anyway, that's where I am right now. I'm going to stop for now. I'll go down and try to find out how to paint, and we'll work on this a little bit more probably tomorrow. I said I've got Black Templar Terminators. That's going to be a checker pattern. I just kind of roughed it out. I wanted these guys looking odd, not totally in sync with each other. As long as they're Black Templar in the end, I think they'll look pretty cool. All right, that's it for right now.